Back into you guys because we just had a tornado warning go up out near the city of Leesburg. Going to get that up for you right now on Storm Tracker radar and show it to you. This one does affect folks a little closer to home. So out northern portions of Loudoun County and extreme western portions of Montgomery County. You see that red box here. This one goes right up until the end of our show here at 7 o'clock. As of 6:53, the storm, which is capable of producing a tornado, was located right near the town of Purcellville or just north of where Leesburg is there. So we'll take the radar for you. We'll pause it there, and you can see that this line of storms, which has really started to fire up here just recently, we've been warning you about a round 2 here, and that is this portion of the line that extends from Frederick, Maryland, down through southern Frederick County and into northern portions of Loudoun County here. And occasionally, because of the way the atmosphere is, we got a warm front draped right across the area at this hour. And essentially what happens is some of these storms run into the, hello, a little big there. Some of these storms run into that warm front and start to rotate just a little bit across parts of our area. So we're going to keep you up to date on what's going on here. We'll drop on in a little closer to Leesburg and show you exactly where in this storm we're watching. And switch on over radars. This is the one out of Dulles Airport, which, as you can see, the radar site just to the south there. So it has a really good image on this storm. And as we look at velocity right here, it's this area up here, right near, let's see, Clark's Gap is where there's just a little bit of rotation within this storm. Certainly looks a little stronger than some of the earlier ones that we've seen so far. So for folks who live in this area right here, that would be the concern area for this storm and possibly producing a tornado. We'll overlay the warning once again, and you can see that is the highlighted area. So for folks around Route 7, right at where Route 7 and Route 9 meet there in Virginia, that would be where the rotation is at this time. And this cell continues to push off to the east pretty quickly. Put it in motion for you here. And you can see it's moving off to the east at about 20-25 miles per hour. About to cross the Potomac, likely within the next 5 or so minutes. And then we'll get into extreme western portions of Montgomery County. So for folks in Poolesville, heads up. You're in this tornado warning and you still have a little bit of time. But this storm is generally heading in your direction. Elmer there at 6:46, and then Poolesville, if it holds together, 6:52 p.m. Just got another warning, and that's the one north of Baltimore that Caitlin was talking to you about. But for us here in D.C., we're really going to just stay focused on this one that's down a little closer to home here. So back to this storm. Again, what I'm showing you here is the winds within this storm. That purple line you see, that is, and there we go, that box right there is the tornado warning itself. And it's this area right here where the winds are swirling just a bit. There's the city of Leesburg. Mostly the northern suburbs on the Leesburg side are within this area of rotation. So just a little couplet there, and that's going to continue to drift off to the north and to the east here. So folks in downtown Leesburg, believe you're going to be okay, but those just to the north of you, if you're seeing this, make sure you're seeking shelter. Get yourself to the lowest level or most interior level of your house if you do not have a basement. But that would be the area right here, and it is showing, I'll say, it is showing just a little bit of a kick up here. That's certainly very interesting to folks. So let's go well in here and give you a good idea of some of the, like Doe Run Lane, Spectacular Bid Place. These would be roads where the rotation would sort of be right on top of you, right there, though, where that green and that red are mixing here. That is that rotation that we're watching as it continues to drift north and east here. So again, folks in Loudoun County, you're under it right now. As it gets over into Montgomery County, we're going to have to continue to monitor it as it drifts off to the north and to the east here. So it is north of, I believe that's the Dulles Toll Road there, Virginia 7, but it is getting into some of these neighborhood streets up here where folks certainly live. Old Waterford Road, this is going to cross right over you here very shortly. So you want to make sure you're seeking shelter if you're in the path of this. And then let me get you this updated in case it is. They just went ahead and updated this event. Let's go ahead and take a peek. Still up until 7 o'clock. Radar indicated rotation, meaning that we do not have any confirmation that there is a tornado on the ground. But we do see that radar indicated rotation, and we certainly have been showing it to you off of that radar there at Dulles Airport. Again, you can pretty clearly see where those winds are swirling there on Storm Tracker radar here. Mostly north of the city of Leesburg, but Martinsburg there, that's not Martinsburg, West Virginia. That is Martinsburg in Montgomery County. We want folks there to have the heads up. This is heading in your general direction. Poolsville, if it stays on its current track, it should miss you to the north, but stick with us. We'll keep you up to date on exactly how that is pushing, but you see there, Martinsburg, you have until about 6:49. It's about 10 more minutes here before it's right on your doorstep. So we want you to take proper precautions and again, get yourself into a safe place and allow this storm to pass. This has been one of several tornado warnings. It's been a very active day. And again, it hasn't necessarily been a day where there has been any sort of strong rotation or strong tornadoes coming through, but we have had these very brief, very quick spin-ups, exactly like you're seeing right here. And this has been one of the more well-defined ones coming out of Loudoun and again, heading for the Potomac River and about to cross into extreme western portions of Montgomery County here. Likely within the next 15 minutes or so, given the pace that this storm is moving at. So if you see this map, you're within the purple box, certainly seek shelter while you can. Barnesville, you're not in it right now, but you would be on the doorstep should they reissue. If this rotation happens to hold together, they could reissue this a little later on down the line. So we'll continue to watch it as it drifts towards, again, Loudoun County, heading over towards the Montgomery County line here very, very shortly. Let's jump back over the radar, and you can see there's a lot of lightning and thunder. Again, you can see almost within where there's a kind of a gap within the precipitation field. Right in there would be if there is a funnel or if there is a tornado, that would be where it would be. So folks who live up that way, that is the area of greatest concern right now. There is Leesburg down to the south. So the primary area right there, downtown Leesburg, should be okay. This is passing off to your north. But for folks who live within this area right here, and I'm going very in tight because I want to be able to pull up some of the street names for you guys because I know that that does help for folks who live there. Give it a minute, let it load on in. But you can certainly see that there is well-defined rotation. I mean, that's probably the best that we've seen out of any of the storms issued here today. And there we go, just got an updated loop in, and it appears to have weakened just a little bit there, but certainly seeing some winds that are rotating within this storm, just like that right there. So for folks who live within that area, we're going to continue to keep you posted as this moves itself eastward into extreme eastern portions of Loudoun County. South of Waterford there, south of Luckett's in Loudoun County as well. Again, this area starting to get over into very suburban Loudoun County. Go ahead and put the latest tracker on it. That's the area of the storm I'm most concerned with as it continues to push off to the east. Martinsburg continues to be the only town that's really popping up. That is Martinsburg, Montgomery County, not Martinsburg, out in West Virginia there. 6:51 p.m. is now the time it's given you folks out there. So make sure if you're within the path of the storm or you live within this purple box in eastern Loudoun and extreme western portions of Montgomery County that you are seeking shelter ahead of this storm. Again, it is that area right here. And, you know, I'm not getting the streets to pop up for me here, but we'll certainly try and fix that here in just a moment. But that is the area along that storm where we are seeing the best indications of rotation as this cell continues to push itself off to the east here. We'll go back to the Dulles radar. It's got the best sampling of it as it's just off to the south of where this storm is. And a lot of times, this is the longest line of thunderstorms that has continued to initialize here over the last 20 to 30 minutes. We've really kind of seen this second batch blown up. And on the bottom side, you can get this extra little turning of the winds that we're seeing. And that's indeed what we are seeing with that tornado warned cell that is, again, coming out of Loudoun County. And just about, go ahead and pull it back up for you here. And you can really clearly see those brighter colors right here. This is the area that we would be most concerned with some of that rotation, winds moving towards and away from the radar. Counterclockwise spin right here as it continues to push off. So sort of towards the northern edge of this warning box would be that area that we would be most concerned with. And you can see that they just updated the warning to kind of define the box, and they are following very closely that area of spin as it continues its journey towards the Loudoun-Montgomery County line. So folks, again, in that area, Martinsburg, I know it's more towards the northern portions, but we want you to take shelter. We want you to be safe. Today's been one of those days where we have seen, and likely going to confirm a tornado up near Boonesboro that dropped very, very briefly. But that's what happens in these types of situations. It can dip down very quickly, go on the ground for a few yards or so, and then go back up into the clouds. Often happens with these types of situations here. So again, it is that area right here, northern portions of this warning box, extreme eastern portions of Loudoun County, just about to cross over the Potomac into western portions of Montgomery County. And so far, that warning is expected to go for the next 15 minutes, unless they see more signs that it is going to be a cell that's going to continue to weaken. Right now, certainly a lot of wind being outputted by that storm. Folks, do be careful. If you're trying to get out and about, maybe avoid doing so until this storm has passed. It does extend farther to the north across Montgomery County as well, goes all the way up to Frederick and a little beyond. So folks traveling this evening along I-270, you're getting soaked here. Clarksburg, Gaithersburg, we're going to keep a very close eye on this cell, because if it does hold together, it'll get over towards Germantown probably within the next 30 minutes or so. So let's go ahead. We'll do a track for you here. So this is the part of the cell that is most concerning. It's drifting a little bit off to the north and to the east there. So Martinsburg, you are within the warning. We continue to watch for you about 6:52, 6:53. By 7 o'clock, the warning is expected to expire, but if it is allowed to continue, Jonesville will be in it. Barnesville would be in it, Sidwell would be in it, and then Germantown would be in it as well. So all areas that we would have to continue to watch as this storm drifts off to the east. Again, the best tool we have to track rotation for you is this. This is what we call velocity. It just shows us what the winds are doing within the storm. The area of rotation is certainly tight and not as well defined as it was about 5-6 minutes ago. But this is certainly the area of the storm that they're most concerned with here, off on the northern edge of that box as it starts making its way off to the east towards that Montgomery County line. So let's go weigh in. We'll see if any of the streets are popping up for folks who live out in that general area. Looks like the data's just lagging just a little bit, so we'll hold off on that, keep you on a wider view. Switch back over the radar for you and show you certainly a decent amount of lightning and thunder out of this cell. We'll go over and show you about 5-6 strikes reported. And in fact, I'll give you an update here. They have, and I'll go back over to the warning. You see that white box around it? That means they have confirmed a tornado on the ground with this one. So confirmed tornado producing damage here. Weaker variety, but still, doesn't matter, weak or strong. We want everybody to take caution, but they have gone ahead and observed this tornado. And that is that very small area of rotation that we had showed you out in west or eastern portions of Loudoun County. So folks, please do take this seriously as it drifts off to the east here. We want folks in Montgomery County to be aware as you guys are next here very, very shortly. Let's go ahead and take a peek. Sorry.
You know, Mike, this is confirmed based off of radar. It's interesting. I'll let you read in the chat what they're saying based on this tornado warning. They're confirming it based on data pulled from the radar. So I'm a little unclear as to whether there's actually been a spotted tornado. It doesn't seem that there has been, but at the National Weather Service, they have enough confirmation based on radar, it seems, signature to say that there's a tornado.
And my guess is going to be because they're taking it off of Dulles right there. I'm trying to pull, and I don't want to get too complicated for folks at home, but I was trying to see if we were getting any debris signature off of the radar from that.
I'm not sure because nothing's been spotted, but perhaps the rotation is enough. I've never seen them do this, that they can confirm the tornado, but take a look and see. The actual language is over eastern Loudoun County, just north of Leesburg, updated to a radar confirmed tornado based on the rotational velocity signature. And you've been showing that, Mike, so, the couplet on velocity.
And it had gotten pretty tight there for a little bit. I was trying to pull up what we call a correlation coefficient just to see if we were seeing any sort of, that's how we can tell if there's debris, something that's not rain or air. If there's leaves or dirt in the atmosphere, the radar is able to tell us that. Right now, this is the area of rotation. It's not, and you see, just as I point that out, they go ahead and update the warning to kind of tighten it up. And Caitlin, on that new update, did they continue to say it was an observed tornado there?
It looks like it. I mean, they haven't said per se, but I'm sure if they're updating it, it still has that white box around it, or in the case of what you have up,
Right.
it's confirmed based on rotational velocity signature.
So likely what happened out of the Dulles radar there just to the south, they saw some debris in the air, likely sticks, leaves, dirt, something that the tornado was bringing up from the ground there that they likely saw. And that's why they've gone ahead and confirmed that. And look, it only may have happened for a few seconds, but that's all it takes to cause some damage. And that's why we want folks to take extra precaution. That is the rotation, and it's getting awfully close here to coming out of Loudoun County and going over towards Montgomery. So there you go. New scans coming in every minute off of this radar. And as we continue to track this system, let's go ahead and push it off to the north and east here, and really struggling to pull up communities in this part of the area. I know not as many folks, certainly not as populated as the Leesburg area, but we do want folks who live north of Martinsburg here certainly got to exercise caution. And if you're anywhere within that warning zone, you certainly want to make sure that you're getting to the lowest level of your house, interior portions of your house, away from windows, doors. Allow this storm to pass, which it should do so relatively quickly. It is a pretty fast-moving storm system.
I think you have to switch back to the storm tracker radar to get down to the street level, Mike.
Yeah, let's go ahead there.
You've got to
there
go
we
back
go.
to the other type of radar that we look at. So we look at several different radars here, and some of them are coming out of different sites, but only this one has the street level. So now we can get down into the
So we can
communities.
go in. So near Temple Hall Lane and near Limestone School Road. That is that, and it's certainly not as strong as it was 10 minutes ago. But this is that area of weaker rotation, just about to cross over Temple Hall Lane there, Limestone School Road. You would be next up, and this is within the next minute here. So certainly if you live in those areas, seek shelter as this part of the storm passes overhead. Again, it's not as well defined as it was just a little bit ago, but it continues to be at one time. They have taken away the observed, so they're no longer seeing that debris get airborne here. But this area that does have the red box around it, tornado warning continues until 7 o'clock. So for the next 8 minutes here for this storm as it comes out of Loudoun County and starts getting over into Montgomery County. It does have a history of at least confirmed debris in the air with it, and then they'll eventually send out survey teams to try and figure out whether or not we're going to see any sort of ground confirmation or not. But right now, again, if we backed it up, certainly stronger couplet, stronger rotation back when it was just north of Leesburg. Right there, excellent look at that couplet and at that rotation, but you can see, in fact, right there was probably at its strongest, but it has weakened just a little bit as essentially these storms, they produce a lot of what we call outflow. The storm, as it rains, as it thunderstorms, it's cooling the atmosphere around it, and that can help disrupt the organization within these storms as they try to push off to the east. So there is the latest on the overlay right here. Certainly a strong thunderstorm coming just north of Leesburg. Poolesville, you're about to get absolutely hammered with heavy, heavy rain and certainly some thunder and lightning. But as for the tornadic portion of this cell, and it looks like they just went ahead and updated it. So they have gone ahead, it looks like, and extended that tornado warning off to the east. So we're going to be sticking with you here now until 7:30 p.m. Frederick, Loudoun, and parts of Montgomery County. So you guys have all been extended, and they did do this. This is the same thing that they did north of Baltimore earlier today. Given the history of that thunderstorm and the rotation within it, they've gone ahead and say, hey, we want folks in this area to shelter just in case as this line comes across, it decides to drop a quick and weak tornado. But folks, now Germantown, I believe you're just outside of it, but we want you guys to pay attention as this comes across. Damascus, you're just outside of it, but we want you to pay close attention because these storms are heading in your general direction. So let's go ahead back to this tornado warning, and you can see the differences between it. And you can also see that the storms off to the north here are starting to rotate. So I know it's a lot of colors on your screen, but let's break it down for you pretty simply here, right? There's a line of thunderstorms that's coming out of Loudoun County. It's pushing into southern portions of Frederick County up here and northern portions of Montgomery County right here on the center of your screen. It certainly at one time likely had a brief weak tornado on the ground within this portion of the cell. However, they've started to notice that a few of these other cells off to the north are starting to rotate just a bit. Very broad rotation, nothing that's tightened up to the point where it's likely to put a tornado down just yet. But these couplets on a day like today, they can quickly tighten, drop a tornado, and then it goes right back up. So they want folks within this warned area to just exercise caution in case that happens. At this time, there have been, or at least at this moment, no tornadoes confirmed within that zone, but the storms are giving that essentially that look that they could potentially drop a tornado as these storms continue to push themselves off to the east here. So let's go ahead back on Storm Tracker radar, and you can see those purple boxes are the areas where the tornado warnings are. There's several cells here that are drifting themselves off to the north into the east. So it would be this one here, and then this one down to the south here. All have potentially shown signs of some weak rotation within these storms. They are going to continue to drift off to the east here at about 20, 25 miles per hour as they work their way through now southern portions of Frederick County there, and then northern portions of Montgomery County and extreme and Loudoun County, just about on the safe side, I think, just about out of it, but mostly now getting over to Montgomery County, folks in Poolsville. We want you to have a heads up about this, and in Germantown, Damascus. You're right on the edge of that new tornado warning that goes until 7:30 that we'll be continuing to monitor for you as these storms continue to push over to the east. So,
Mike, you're doing great. There have been at least one viewer photo that came in out of Owings Mill, and you can see some clear funnel clouds. It's in the chat if you want to take a look and just take a break from talking for a second. But the tornado warning, I think, extended. I don't know if you can pull the chat up there or not, but there's at least visual confirmation, not of a tornado on the ground, but what looks like funnel clouds over Owings Mill, Maryland. So probably reason for extending and expanding
it
that
looks
warning.
like, no, never mind. Almost spoke too soon. I thought I saw the box go down, but
It might have been the initial one.
it may be, now the initial one's still
it's
hanging
still
out there for a moment, but I certainly see what they're doing here, as you definitely have several areas of broad rotation within this line of storms going through. And essentially what's happening, there's a warm front draped across our area, and that warm front is where the wind is shifting directions. It's going from a more easterly direction to a more southerly direction, and that is almost kind of kicking these storms a little bit. That's allowing them to get an extra boost in their spin. Several areas here, again, there's a storm on the northern flank, there's a storm on the southern flank here, and there's one in between where there's a little bit of rotation within each of these cells that could potentially put down a tornado at any second. As we mentioned a few moments ago, we did see a storm that up north of Baltimore that they did this same sort of warning with. Most of this is all on the Montgomery County side as far as I'm concerned from what I'm seeing on radar. I think this is all coming out of Loudoun County. Of the three cells, the one down closer to Poolsville looks the strongest on radar. That being said, up near Barnesville, there's another heavy cell. And then just about to cross over 270 near Thurston in southern portions of Frederick County in Maryland, there's another pretty strong cell that's going to go right across 270 here very shortly. So Montgomery County drivers, look, if you're about to leave the city and head northward on 270, forget about it. Give it another half hour. This cell will continue to drift off to the north and east here, and it'll clear things out for you on 270. But I would not, north of Germantown right now, or north of Rockville, honestly, I would not want to be driving on 270 as this comes across. Very, very heavy rain, some lightning and thunder, sure, and occasionally you'll get one of these spin-ups that could potentially put down a tornado. So folks, continuing to monitor this extreme southern Frederick County in Maryland, and now mostly northern portions and northwestern portions of Montgomery County in Maryland. This tornado warning goes until 7:30 this evening. So for about the next 32 minutes, we are under this tornado warning cell. I'll show it to you here, just kind of the blanket coverage of it. Leesburg, now you're mostly out of it. Again, these storms are kind of crossing the Potomac as we speak. Folks in Poolsville, Barnesville, seek shelter. We want you guys in either your basement, the interior portions of your home, until these storms have been allowed to pass. We're not trying to scare anybody with these warnings. We know we often get them here during these situations.